Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in New York City. This is Nightline, June 18, 2008.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the devastating floods that have been pounding the middle of this country. The waters are being blamed for the deaths of at least 24 people, injuries to more than 100, and losses of over $1 billion. And the Army Corps of Engineers estimates that in the past few days, 22 levees have been overtopped, turning cornfields into lakes and leaving urban areas underwater. The floodwaters are now making their way further downstream, but they leave in their wake destruction that is hard to believe. Chris Bury is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa tonight. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Martin. This is Hamilton Street, one of about 800 city blocks here that was underwater until just a few days ago. But the floodwaters have receded just as quickly as they overwhelmed this city of about 125,000, leaving enormous destruction in their wake. Drive along the streets of Cedar Rapids and the comparison is inevitable. Katrina on a far smaller scale. Block after city block piled high with ruined household possessions, all soaked and stinking.
Water line right to there.
This afternoon we caught up with Kyle Steele clearing out debris from his flooded home.
This is what used to be our worldly possessions, I guess you could say.
Like 90% of the homeowners here, Steele has no flood insurance. After all, his home sits more than a mile from the river, and he says his insurance company told him he didn't really need it.
Said, no, you're in a 500-year floodplain. You can, for an extra $500-600, take it out. But when you're a family, you know, starting out, $500-600 a year when you have 2 kids, I mean, that's a lot.
Indeed, this was an epic flood. The Cedar River rising to levels never seen before, spilling into the heart of Cedar Rapids. Downtown looked like Iowa's version of the lost city of Atlantis. Entire neighborhoods were swallowed up, hundreds of city blocks submerged. Early damage estimates have already passed the $1 billion mark.
In terms of homes and businesses destroyed, do you have a calculation? Do you have a guesstimate?
Oh, we've got nearly 4,000 homes, 3,900 homes that were underwater. Not all of them are destroyed. And we had 428 city blocks of just the business district that were underwater.
This week, as the water pulled back, the city sent out strike teams
Search and rescue! Anybody in here?
to look for possible victims and take measure of the damage.
A lot of mud, a lot of stench, and it's just a pretty sad sight. Coming into really nice houses and seeing everything wasted.
Hundreds of homes here have been marked in red, X or no good, meaning the city has condemned them. Tracy Thomas, a single mom working 2 jobs to make her mortgage payments, refused to believe that her house has to be razed.
This stuff, it will be replaced in no time, but not my house.
Linda Hemphill was able to save her home, but not much else. Everything inside was trashed. Now she's looking for a FEMA loan to help her get by.
Linda, how long before you'll be able to live here again?
Oh, at least a couple of months. At least I'm going to have someone come and replace all my flooring. Actually, everything, my kitchen, my bathroom, all the drywall, you know, because I have to replace all that. My furnace, my water, everything in my basement. So it'll be a while. But at least I have a home to come back to.
The flooding left behind rivers of contaminated sludge. Electricity is still out in many places. Dozens of businesses, including 3 of the city's biggest employers, sustained heavy damage. Many temporarily shut down. Even the city government is just limping along. The main fire station, entirely engulfed by the flood, still has a refrigerator stuck in the rafters.
We lost our central fire department, our police department, city hall, our court system, our jail, public works, water pollution control, our public library as well. When all the costs come in, just from a municipal perspective, it is going to be staggering.
Hundreds of people remain hunkered down in Red Cross shelters. With so many homes still not fit to live in, Cedar Rapids could soon face a Katrina-style housing problem.
The need for temporary housing is real. If there were an analogy to Katrina, we're going to need a place for people to sleep.
FEMA trailers?
FEMA trailers would be great.
For residents here still combing through treasured possessions, the enormity of what lies ahead is just now sinking in. We found Tricia Chalupsky sorting her family photos.
What's your sense about what the recovery is going to take for you?
Time-wise, I'd say probably Christmas. Yeah. Emotionally wise, I think it's going to take quite a few years.
How long before Cedar Rapids is back on its feet?
It's going to be a while. I think one of the things we don't want to do is create unrealizable expectations. This was a catastrophe. Someone said yesterday, if this were an earthquake, it would be a 9.2. You don't recover from those things overnight.
Tomorrow, President Bush comes here to see the damage for himself. City officials will try to make the case that, like Katrina, the devastation here is so widespread that Cedar Rapids cannot afford to fully recover without significant help from the federal government. Martin?